Peace, family. We're alive. Go ahead, Queen. You can start it off.
Peace to the tribe. Welcome to Vokal Dialect. I'm your host, Queen Goddess Hope.
Brother Ken Water I kill. You got the brother Bossy Kent in the house. Brother Knowledge Born 7. How y'all doing out there?
Peace, family. Peace. Everything good.
So what we gonna talk about tonight? What's going on? What's the subject?
Peace, family. Peace. Everything good. Okay, the subject gets the economic disaster 2024. Pretty much what's going on in the world.
We're gonna talk about the economic disaster, right?
Correct. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm making sure y'all can hear me.
Can you hear Queen Goddess?
Yeah, I can hear him on this
Oh,
side.
okay.
So what started this off today? I think I had sent over a video about the status of the economy and what's basically happening on a daily basis surrounding us. TikTok had something a couple weeks back, maybe a couple months by now, about an inflation trend. You know, how people are spending, money on groceries that would only come up to like one or two bags. It's not even enough based upon the price that they're paying for goods to feed their families. People are having to work multiple jobs at this time just to make sure that they can actually pay for these groceries. Thinking about the things that are required for us to sustain our basic needs right now are, a roof over our heads, food, water, as we would say, shelter, and a career, a job, something that's going to allow you to continue to make money. And right now, people are having to take on 2 and 3 jobs right now just so that they can continue to keep up with the rising cost of inflation. They're saying now that you have to make, I forgot, like pretty much 6 figures, like $100,000 to be able to have all of your basic needs met right now in a lot of cities around America. So what are they encouraging us to do? They're encouraging us to sell everything and start all over again. And if you do that, how will you survive your next hand of cards that are being played? Will you make the same mistakes over again? What will you do differently? You still have the knowledge that you've accumulated over all this time. You might have a couple of mouths to feed, but how are you going to decide to start over on this spiritual journey that we're going through that is now resulting in a physical realm and a true economic disaster, from housing to the housing prices being as low and the volume of houses that are selling at an all-time low right now. You got kids getting ready to get out of school, so that means that a lot of kids may not be eating. We know about that too. It's going to be so many multiple issues. You got car issues, the cost of to insure cars, gasoline prices about to start rising again. There's going to be so many things. It's all going to crash at one time. And I don't think people are prepared for that.
Nope. What do you think is the plan? What kind of arterial model do you think they have behind all this?
Let me give you something. Give me 1 second. Let me get off this other screen.
I think it's really about obliterating people who they deem as non-essential. If you cannot survive the increasing pricing for your basic needs, then you don't have to be here, as harsh as that may sound. I think that's really the perspective of the way things are going right now. If you can't even survive to live on this planet with a little bit of an increase, then you don't deserve to be here. That's the angle that they're going through. We always noticed it was always about population control. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, there was some results that came out earlier in the year saying that Black people are at the bottom of the financial bracket. We know that as far as wealth goes, accumulated wealth, generated wealth. We spend the most, but now it's really time for us to like, how do we maintain those assets and start living, below our means, especially if there is an economic disaster about to happen.
Well, it's not gonna only affect Black people. It's gonna affect everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what I said. Anybody who cannot afford to meet their
Yeah.
basic needs. That's a lot of people, especially right now. And then if we're going AI and jobs are also going to be cut, it's going to be a scary time.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with this.
So, so the middle class is dying, or the
There is no middle class right now.
middle class is dead. The 1950s, the average house income was like 3,000, and the average house cost was 5,000. So now today the average income is 74,000, and the average house cost is 450,000. That is the broad minimum. So what Queen was saying is correct. You know, and that's towards the middle working class today. The average salary needed is $174,000 a year. Now, I watched a video, an old video. I had this video for a while. It was dealing with the elites, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, laughing and joking about inflation. This was a video that come out. It came out in the 1980s, but I got a hold of it to like it. I got a hold of it in the early 2000s.
Right.
So in this video, they were all out to dinner, laughing and joking, and they said um, they laughed at the idea of how inflation will destroy America. Um, like Queen said, it's like a game to them to see America fall, and they have the power to do that. And pretty much, it's all according to how they look at us, you know. And there are a lot of things there is in play because the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers are warring together.
Yep.
So we are on their playing ground, their playing field. I spoke with a brother yesterday at a festival out in the West End, and me and him, had a very good dialogue. The brother, he was a Islamic brother, and he had a plan. He wrote a book, I think like an
Yeah.
80-page book on reparations. Um, and me and him got the dialogue, and I mentioned a few things to him. And one of the things I mentioned to him was we asking for reparations, and he's pushing this agenda that he has forward with the youth, and he's going out the land, which is smart because only 15% of the world's money is in the hands of the people. 85% of the world's money is in the hands of the elite. So by 85% of the world's money being in the hands of the elite, we have to think about there is not a lack. There is just a lot of evilness just going on, if that's a word, and they need to just nip it in the bud. It's a lot of stuff going on, and you have the corporations of the United States, the shareholders of the corporation of the United States, and you have the I can't think of the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, the Council of Foreign Relations. Now, the Council of Foreign Relations is very unique in itself, which is created by the Rothschilds and, of course, the Vatican, etc. But they are using all these other corporations to kill, to pretty much kill America itself. I don't know the reason of it. A lot of people say it's madness, which it could be madness. You know what I'm saying? to experiment on a large group of people and see what's going to happen.
That is madness. Madness. That's insane, man.
They've already so many times. We have to remember that they have their history plastered all in these textbooks, which is why they want to change it so bad and erase it so bad, so that they can remove their patterns from plain sight.
Right. I look at it in a few ways. So let's talk about like the point that Queen made about, and what was that figure? How much did you say you would have to make to survive knowledge? How much?
174,000. That's what we need right now.
174,000
a year.
So let's do the math or the deduction of the destruction of the Black family further. So we are in a time of mental illness, and this is something we're gonna also have to focus on. That Black males and Black females aren't thinking rationally. Everybody is thinking like Delulu and the things that they want. Okay, women want all of these dudes that make these 6-7 figures. That's just not. It's not growing on trees. We got to keep it real. It's not growing on trees. So you think about the type of depression that's going to be induced into the household, because if you have to make that, and that we're not looking realistically as how we're going to have to come together and really look out for each other. If the way they are conditioning, and I use that word specifically, the way they are conditioning us as a people, they're conditioning the women to say, I saw a chick, I watch it's a sister, Kendra G. She has a pretty cool show. And if you want to do, I always say we got to do case studies. If you really want to look at the development or the underdevelopment of Black people, look at that and people's expectations in the dating field. So I watched a sister, and I'm not going to cut into her physical features, but let's just say her physical features wasn't going to be desired for a man that makes almost $500,000. Now, people have the right to request whatever they want. I could request to be leader of whatever. It don't necessarily mean I'm going to get it. But what I'm saying in a point is, we're going to have to look at how the depression is going to be inflicted upon households. Because like Queen just said, children are going to be hungry. Children are going to be hungry. That means, okay, you'll go to the store and get 5 bags, and you almost spent $100 on 5 bags. A bag of potato chips is like $4 or $5. So like you said, in this inflation, because they control the resources. So when we having these conversations about, because I think we have to get real concrete in what we're saying, because we keep saying reparations. This implies that these devils are finna hand you over something. They are not gonna hand you over to do something. So let's just say if we were to get reparations and we get this land, the real work comes on what happened when we get on that land. Because we've been induced with such mental illness, how are we going to deal with the mental illness on the land? How are we going to deal with a lot of stuff? So I think when we're looking at the economic crisis, that's going to cause the destruction in a lot of Black households, because a lot of these families, they're not going to be able to cut it. They're just not, because they're going to just keep turning up the heat, because their goal, and like they said, like Ken asked, what's the goal? In my opinion, the goal is to make everybody, to make most people homeless. They're already talking about presenting bills to the Senate to make it illegal to be homeless, where they're going to give out homeless tickets for just sleeping in the streets. So imagine if they turn up that fire, what's going to happen? Then we're going to have anarchy, because the only way you're going to eat is to come in somebody's house. So when they're giving you these precursors of these movies like The Purge, they're showing you the level that you're going to have to get. You're going to have to get on some Hunger Games to survive. There's not going to be a whole lot, because, okay, look at in the world, leave the world behind. Money was no good.
Right.
Money was no good. Everybody's fixated on money. Money is no good when it's like that. So we're gonna have to be unified in small pockets, because it's over with for the masses. The masses is not gonna do nothing. Remove the M off the masses. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the asses.
Well said. Well said.
So we're gonna have to come to like a level of reality of what is it that we're trying to aspire to, because like they said, and this is a good topic because all they're gonna do is keep turning up the heat because they're trying to smoke you out and put as many poor people in there as possible. Okay, like, and then look at what they're doing with the migrants. They can fill up the homes easy. They're trying to make black people obsolete.
Yep. Yep. Like I always said.
Let me
We
drop a
ain't
few
even
numbers
get
on
it.
you guys. The deficit totals 1.6 trillion from the fiscal year 2024, grows at 1.8 trillion in 2025, and then returns to 1.6 trillion in 2027. The deficit steadily mounts, reaching 2.6 trillion by 2024. So they plan to run this thing out to 2034. You want to know how bad the debt is? You can check out usdebtclock.org.
Ooh, that
USDebtclock.org.
brings trauma
And check,
immediately.
yes, go and check out that clock. I knew about the debt clock probably about 2015 when I first saw it. I learned about that dealing with commerce, and it just came to my memory. Check out usdebtclock.org.
Man,
And debt is increasing at 99% of the GOP at the end of 2024 to 116%, the highest level ever recorded by the end of 2034. The debt will continue to grow if current laws generally remain unchanged. So now we have economic disaster. They pretty much got rid of the middle class because first it was the poor who was fighting. Now it's the middle class who's fighting to stay ahead. And you guys are right about the children because I know a young lady, she has a camp every year. And the kids
I'm going to cut you off, but man, in today's society, man, there ain't no middle class, man.
Hey, well,
if you was to stop working, if I was to stop working right now, and all of us that's on this feed was to stop working right now, what would happen?
I mean, you know what'll happen, but I'm just giving you the numbers. So,
right.
So the young lady has a camp, and the kids are begging her to start the camp 2 weeks early this year. So she said, "Why do you guys want me to start the camp?" She's talking with the kids, not the parents, because she said she talked with the parents, and then she always have a one-on-one with the youth. And you know what the youth said?
What's that?
They're hungry. Yeah, crazy. So the effects of this thing have already taken effect. So the debt is skyrocketed. We owe everybody. America has been for sale for the longest. There are certain countries that own certain parts of America.
Yep.
It is crazy. Now,
Yep.
when you dropped the video, I was already doing a piece on this, dealing with the economic debt. And I was like, cool, let's rock. You know what I'm saying? And I got so much information on it. I kind of can't say it on YouTube, so I'm gonna just let that. But I will kind of summarize it in my piece that I put together. But it's really bad, and what's potentially happening is going to be worldwide chaos. See what you guys see over on TV when they riot and stuff overseas. You're going to see that in real time, real soon. You're going to see some of the things that happen when us as the indigenous man and woman get killed in the streets by the blue collar, how everybody riots. But you're going to see that amongst everyone. And the cause of the riot is going to be inflation.
Yep. You got to understand that it does not discriminate against anybody, just like this pandemic didn't discriminate against everyone. I think that is when everybody had the real blow to the chest, realizing that it's not about race. It's really about your economic status and what you can afford. All day today, I was immersed in the mortgage sector because I was working in the banks during 2008, during the last market crash. And I saw what it did to a lot of people's homes. I saw how many people were in foreclosure. I saw I was making like $800 on a weekend, Saturday alone, closing mortgage refinances because Obama put out a program called the HARP program that basically said as long as your mortgage was current and you were not over 105% loan to value, then you could refinance your loan, because these people were 2 payments away from being in foreclosure. So now I'm looking up numbers today, like, people telling me, hey, don't buy a house in this area, buy a house in this area. You'll get more bang for your buck. It's the same price, but depending on where the location is, you might have a 10-year investment or you might have a 5-year investment, all that jazz that they talk about when you buy in a house. But all I keep thinking is they're really about to price people out of the market. So if you're not able to take advantage of buying a house right now, you're probably never going to be able to buy a house in the future at all.
Right.
The price that they're going to pull on. So if the mortgage rates are not high, then the house prices are going to be high. They're going to be in the millions of dollars to buy property, because now that video I sent, everybody's going to be on Section 8. People making $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year in their home are going to be on Section 8. This is really about to happen. And I don't think people realize the severity of that, because if you have normal people, your everyday blue collar workers on Section 8, what does that say about everybody else?
And I'm gonna take time out before we begin to thank y'all for everybody that's on the feed that support us. You know what I mean? Hit that like button. Make comments, subscribe. They're taking away our subscriptions. You know what I mean? YouTube is full of it. But yeah, support. I appreciate the support. We see everybody on the feed. I usually name names, but we see you. Appreciate it.
Go on, name names.
You got the General Shaka Sankofa on the feed. You know what I mean?
Peace, my brother. Peace.
You got the brother Tex. We got the sister
Peace,
Netta
brother
Bees.
Tex.
We got Wilbur Harris. We got the sister Lisa Sabaz on here.
Peace, sister.
Yeah. So that's about it.
All right. I want to read you guys a quote. Buy when the cannons are firing and sell when the trumpets are blowing. That's dealing with war. So you buy when the cannons are firing. And this is one of these are one of the Rothschild's quotes.
Right.
And sell when the trumpets are blowing. And they mean by sell when the trumpets are blowing, that means sell when your presidential election is going on.
Yeah.
When a president gets in office, then the cannons are firing again. So we have to be mindful of certain quotes that they have and that they say. I looked up a few quotes. Who controls the insurance of money controls the government. The number one biggest business is insurance. This is another quote from one of the Rothschild. This is I forgot his name, maybe David or something like that. But this is one of the quotes, and it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So these are the people. These are the ones who run the so-called world mindset. And
right.
I heard somebody mention anarchy. Who mentioned anarchy? I think it might have been Obasi. I always say it all the time. One of the 5 forms of government is anarchy. They have to have a certain level of chaos. It's like they get off on it. They get off on the negative vibration. They get off on the chaos. They get off on the control. And I think Obasi also mentioned doing case studies. I mentioned that before too. How they do us, it's called shock testing.
Yeah.
They do certain things and see what happens, or what does the herd do? They call us herd cattle, Goya. What does the herd do? And they monitor that, collect the data, and so they know how to affect us in any shape, form, and fashion.
Queen mentioned the pandemic. I posted a video on my Facebook, and we can say alleged, and you take it for what you will, but it's alleged that a CIA agent admitted that the mRNA vaccine was designed to kill, because the thing that they want to do is have total control over population by the year 2030. Now we can take that for alleged because we don't have real resources, even though they pressed Anthony Fauci today real hard. So like I always say, we have to wise up, because when we bring in subjects like, okay, if we talking about Diddy, what we start screaming that favorite D word, and I ain't talking about Democrat. It's a distraction. But when you post things that they are distracting you from, Nobody even look at it. So again, like I said, we have to get, these folks are not bullshitting. They don't, like Queen said, they don't care about your race. They just use that to divide us. Now I stand on my circle, but they use that as to continue to keep us that. They use the Caitlin Clark effect, which I just did a video about, to keep target on how Black women are being treated in sports. She's being treated like at first class, and Angel Reese, Carmela Cardoso, all those other girls are being treated like, oh, those mere peasants. So they totally distracting our minds from things. They pressed Anthony Fauci hard today, and I got to finish looking at the video.
Yeah,
but that's one thing we got to focus on. And Queen always points that pandemic out and the hokey pokey, as I call it.
I have to. I'm sorry. I have to.
So many people took this.
I have to.
Hey,
they was throwing stones at your kid.
No, because it's important.
Brother Shaka.
Shaka asked you a question. You could read his question and answer on feed.
How do we organize unity on a cohabitational level?
How do we organize? Read it again. I can't see it.
It's on a YouTube feed. It says, how do we organize unity on a cohabitational level?
Mean like living together?
I guess, because, notorious, like, women can't really dwell under the same roof together. Two women in a house together is a headache and a half. It's really difficult for us to do that. That would be the first question.
I feel like discernment is gonna have to be a key, because we talk about all these spiritual elements, but I feel like discernment is gonna have to be a key. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, we in a point where I'm not dealing with the masses. The masses are the asses. So we're better off in small sections of people that understand the assignment. If we dealing with emotionally unstable people on any level, we have to question, can we be with them? So I answer the question by saying it all depends on who we dealing with and how we know how these people get down. Are you living with people that are emotionally stable? Are you living with people that you can communicate well with? A lot of these brothers are screaming polygamy and polygyny, but you know what I'm saying, you're not understanding the elements that you're mixing.
Right.
We gotta, like I said, we have to stop thinking. We spent so much stuff talking about spirituality and the car and the bar and all the more pretty sounding words, but we have to be in real time.
Repeat that.
You know what I'm saying? You have to have women. You can't use women as blow up dolls.
And you repeat what you said, because you had broke up.
Pretty sounding words like the car and the bar, but we have to understand what these words really mean in like real time. Like, what's the action behind these words?
Right.
So, like I said, the answer to this question is really going to be how the discernment and how we select who we cohabitate with.
I had a friend of mine who we had a conversation about that, and it also came down to character and what do you provide.
Say that word one more time. Say that word one more time.
Character.
One more time.
Character. And what do you offer? Like, what do you do with your hands, or what is your trade? What do you offer to the community? What type of labor are you able to provide? Are you an herbalist? Are you a mechanic? Are you a machinery? Are you a welder? Are you a builder? Are you a masonry? Are you a pharmacist? Are you good with ammunition? Like, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
Like, those are the two of the key things
that would bring to the table, Queen.
Well, we know how that goes. So it's like those are the two main components when it all comes down to it. Sure, it's about financials and resources, but we could literally go buy 10 acres of land and say, hey, everybody get an acre, or everybody get 2 acres. We only want 5 families on the territory. You should be able to go through an extensive questionnaire, kind of like when you buy a co-op. Usually when you buy a co-op or a townhouse, and if you're buying into an association, you have to fill out a lengthy packet of questions about your character and who you are as an individual. This should not be any different. This should not be any different.
Yeah, because one, it has to be compatibility.
Hold that thought. I want to say peace and black power to the brother Jay Mohammed. He was on here last week. He's a new subscriber. We appreciate your support, brother Jay.
Peace.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not.
It's gonna come. They do the character test because it's gonna come down to compatibility, trust, lifestyle. You cannot mix.
Oh, that's a big word right there, bro. Trust.
You can't mix a lot of things together. Being compatible means we can somewhat work it out. Trust is a lot because you have to make sure the character test is to see if you're gonna fit. Do you have any ulterior motives? Religious status. What can you accept as far as your religious status or other religious statuses? And lifestyle comes to, your sleep schedule, your social habits, your daily routine, your preference. It comes down also to cleanliness. You know what I'm saying? So that's a tough one right there. The ones I see who do it so far successfully is the Hispanic community.
Okay.
When
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But remember, we used to live, like this together. We used to live like this together.
Not no more.
They got it from us. We sold, and we're not going to make it. We talking about economic disaster. Man, we got to learn how to motherfucking live together again, man. We don't know how to live together again. Come on, man. And we going to take the brunt of it. Because look where we at. We everywhere. Yeah. We don't like each other. We don't love each other.
Yeah.
Come on, he said, man. What percentage, Shaka got a question. He said to Brother Knowledge, what percentage of our people will be able to sustain a household $174 annually? I think it's possible. Me and Queen put some solutions in the chat earlier, which are very good because one thing for sure, we have to follow the money. In order to get to that $174,000 status, we have to follow the money. What percentage of us? It's a small percentage because everyone is not trying to build themselves up financially as far as learning about money, learning how to attain money, learning how to take risks and build some form of personal profitable portfolio where you can live off of it. Dealing with money is a lot. I just in my past, dealing with business and stuff like that and watching your bank account, what comes through your bank account and what can you actually pull from your bank account to double or triple, and then making smart investments. What percent? To answer your question is, what percentage of our people will be able to sustain it? Probably about 20%.
Hey, let me give a shout out to the Captain Gerald Moore, man. Peace and black power, brother. From out of DC, the nation's capital.
What? It's gonna
back to no, go ahead, Queen.
I was just gonna say it's gonna come down to those who already have financial literacy or not. That's who's gonna be able to sustain it. So the root is how many people in our community have some type of financial literacy or a track record of growing wealth.
Yeah.
Good point. Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, he had a series on Prime. I think it was called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now, this is one of those interracial movies.
Yeah.
But they were I think they were like assassins.
Yeah.
And they based hooking each other up. Everybody was a Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They had multiple Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You didn't know who they were going to hook you up with. They based their compatibility on how they would have them to cohabitate by a questionnaire. And based on how you answered that questionnaire, they put you together based on how you answer. And even though it's a change of crack of heart movie, they still had to grow to love each other. So I think a lot of this we're gonna have to go back to, like we were saying before, we were socially engineered like crazy. We're gonna have to go back into it, like Queen saying, what you bring to the table, and we ain't talking about like in the Western way they talking about it. What skill set? Because it's like what's gonna matter more, like expensive clothes or a jug of water.
Right.
It's
And
gonna
look,
come
they
down to
keep
that.
showing us these types of movies. What you say, Quinn?
It's gonna come down to that, to bartering and negotiating
Yeah.
of resources. They just nominated in a female
Yes.
president in Mexico.
Yep, I saw that.
First person who's gonna completely change Mexico. She wants it to be ran off of a completely different energy grid. Now she wants to team up with the United States and Canada as well, because apparently they all have the same energy efficiency agenda. So now we have to really consider that. What does that look like? We are using, they said 60% of the homes that we live in and the places that we work at are contributing to the gas house emissions problem. So if you take away those two things, where you're now flipping the source of energy, maybe you're not using coal as much, maybe you're not heating your furnace to 500 degrees, now you only need to do it to 300 or maybe 200. You know, they're trying to figure out a way that we can flip the efficiency, or they're going to put in energy efficient blocks. Like you can only use energy from this time to this time, since these are the peak hours that everybody's working. So that means that you could only use electricity from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. After that time, you can't use no electricity. There's only going to be two ways. So we're also going to have to get accustomed to something like that as well. You know, no longer being able to cut on your light, you know, as simply as you want to, you know, having that taken away from you. What does that look like? How do you now adjust? So many different things are changing. Before, it's going to be natural resources. You know, they're talking about how all of the world's water is supposed to be gone by like 2036 or something like that. Like, just imagine all of the world's water gone. What does that look like?
Okay.
Disaster.
That's a, you know what? And look,
Hold on, Bossy, hold on. Hey, Queen Shaka got a question for you. He said, what are some of the key elements as to obtain a home ownership? He also says, or is it even worth the investment?
So it's funny because last night I was looking, you know, up some articles about this topic. And one of the things that came across was, now that we're back to 2000, that was the whole point of me saying I was working in a bank store in the recession 2008. Right now, they're actually redoing this thing all over again. So they're letting you buy a house with a conventional mortgage, meaning that you are putting at least 20% of the down payment down, with at least 20% equity available in the property. And now they're saying like you can go FHA, and you don't even have to put up the down payment. They'll give you the money, but now that 20% down payment is going to be the second mortgage, which is what happened in the last recession bubble. They were doing what we called 80-20 loans. So now they're saying you don't even have to bring money to the table. You can also have bad credit. We'll even work with you. We just want you to buy a house, because nobody is buying houses right now. The problem is also commercial real estate. I think that we really need to also consider that. So much commercial real estate is going up for sale. You have people buying buildings that, like, I think AT&T just took like over $100 million loss on a building, you know, trying to buy back their own buildings because nobody's renting them any longer. Everybody's work from home. You know, they're stuck in these leases, 10-year leases. During the pandemic, they signed, let's say everybody signed new leases on their commercial real estate buildings in 2020, and now they're stuck into these leases until 2030, and now nobody's working in them, but they still got to pay that bill every single month, because it's either going to be too expensive to pay for it throughout the rest of the lease, or you just have to sell the building and cut your losses right up front. And most people are going to agree to cut their losses. You know, but to go back to Shaka's original question, what are the basic key elements? It's always credit. You right now, I think the lowest that you can have is like a 580 credit score with like no negative.
Wow. I thought it was 620.
Is
Hell
it even
no.
worth buying a house?
Yo, they giving it away. You hear me? They
Or
giving
what's the
stuff.
catch to it though? I know it's
I just told you, you
yeah.
gotta take your second, you're gonna have two liens on your
These
property
are
right up front.
yeah.
You're gonna have 100% financed in your house. And they're like, although banks are giving you money, some places are giving you up to like $50,000. Some of the sellers are paying $7,000. The problem is that a lot of these people in these homes are about to get foreclosed on. They already
Right.
pay for it. So their last bet is to sell it, because what happens is if they sell the property, a lot of these people that bought homes in 2020, their mortgages are underwater, meaning that their value is under the price of what they took out for the house. So it's like now their loan is upside down, they call it. So now they can't even take out another loan or pull that equity because they're over. So now it's like you either have to sell the house. So if they say, let's say you have $200,000 in a mortgage and your house is worth 150,000 right now, but it sells for 160,000. That 40%
Queen.
difference is what you'll have to pay.
Queen. Mike Chambers, what up? Peace and power, brother Mike, man. You know,
Please,
thanks for
please.
the support.
What are the interest rates? I
Yeah.
think I saw that they were like still like 7.8.
Yeah, that's
Which
still
I don't think is terrible,
no,
but
that's not terrible. It's high though.
it's high. But I think with if your credit is good and if you're really like on a clean slate, you haven't bought any like new loan items or anything like that, and if you have the cash to at least put down 3 to 5%, you can get a great property right now. I really, really think so, because they saying that the rates are low, like from 2019 right now. I mean, the cost of homes.
Go ahead, Obasi, and I'm gonna say something after you.
No, I'm just saying, things like practical things we can do, because you plan for everything. You know, you plan for everything, but certain things like how good would we be with like, and I'll say we could do this for a weekend. How good would we be going with a weekend without electricity in your homes? Like how like training yourself. What do you do if you don't have water? While you still have access to these luxuries, because they control the resources. So what if we had what if we had, instead of getting caught off guard with no water and then everybody's in panic and chaos, the ones of us that can see this thing ahead of curve and say, well, if they hit us like this, how would we prepare? How would we fare if we had no Wi-Fi? Little small thing, we had no Wi-Fi. We got no cell phone. We have no way to talk to the world. We have no electricity. Go a whole entire weekend with no electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And you begin to adjust because that's how they do. They do drop by drop. They don't just hit you with the shebang all at once. They get you adjusted drop by drop by drop, because they're getting you used. What did we kept saying during the pandemic, as Queen called it? This is the what? New norm. So as to me, as good warrior tactics, we get ourselves accustomed to this. So if you get snatched with that, you say, hey, because we grew up, I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up without Wi-Fi. What is this Wi-Fi stuff?
Wi-Fi.
So we naturally know how it's in us. We've just been spoiled. Yeah, we knew what it was like to go to a payphone. We knew what it was like to wait till we get home to call somebody back.
Yeah.
I always kept me 3/4 in my pocket, baby.
There should be courses.
And Gerald had made a statement on it. Anyone want to read it?
I think that there should be courses that we. Last point. I think that there should be courses on how do we read maps.
Oh man, don't nobody
Oh
know
man,
no more.
you got it
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I be reading my little Apple Maps like crazy now. All of a sudden, I just started getting back into it again. It's so true.
Yeah, the map's so important, especially you're supposed to have a map of your area. You're supposed to have a map of your high ground, your low ground, also your current water supplies, just in case in a natural disaster, or let's just say an economic disaster, it takes place and you have to find your way to the nearest water well or something. But yeah, you do supposed to have that knowledge, and then you're supposed to know how to read a map as well. We can't let the system cripple us in a way where we are depending on them for everything. All of us on this live, we speak freely. We speak for the people. And I will say this: we
Free as
definitely have
fuck.
to, yeah, free as fuck. We definitely have
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
Hmm.
Hashtag free as fuck. Goddamn.
we
Mhm.
definitely, we definitely have to put together a plan. If something was to happen where you can't,
Yep.
if something was to happen, what's your next step? Do you have a survival bag or something like that? And since we're talking about economic disaster
Yeah.
2024, so when the everything shuts down or something is so bad, and I heard someone on here mention barter and trading. Do we have liquor? Do we have gold? Do we have
Mhm.
silver? Do we have a specific medicine? Do we have something if we take a backpack and walk from our home and we go into another destination that we will have enough one to protect ourselves, two to barter and trade our way from there and coming back. So it's
Yeah.
everything is going to play a part if it gets to the level how natural disasters or economic disaster happens overseas. Now, I said this before, I'm gonna say it again, and we have to get educated on this. 1902 Dick Act. Look it up. That is what is supposed to be used when politicians
Repeat that act one more time, brother Nard. So that you get
1902 Dick Act.
yeah, 1902 Dick Act. That is what's supposed to be used when politicians screw around American people.
Hmm.
hey, Mike James say, remember when the maps were in every gas station. Yep, I do, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
not no
remember that,
more.
Yes.
brother.
Not no more.
I
Not
I
remember
do
anymore.
see
That's
maps
crazy.
when I take a road trip. I do see some maps like I see maps in Kentucky and Tennessee and some of their gas stations.
Right. That's that normal hillbilly shit.
yeah, hillbillies. Hey, one thing about them hillbillies, they know how to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't knock them. It's funny, like I was saying once upon a time, when I was down in Alabama, I used to always, I think our Walmart was like the closest, biggest store was 30 minutes away. So anytime I went up in there, I would browse through the camp aisle and grab something from there every single time to add to my survival kit. Because at the end of the day, you never know, and you have to think about your life outside of the elements. What if your house was crumbled? What if a bomb hit it? You never know, a tornado, foreign weather, anything can take out your main source of shelter. So you have to now think on the go. Can you survive out in the elements? I watch Survivor here and there to kind of keep myself on my toes, like, okay, or Naked and Afraid. You got these people living out in the elements. They don't have
Mhm.
nothing, no chance of survival, and they always somewhere out in a foreign country. One thing they always say you should have with you is fire. Always make sure you have some type of dry wood or know how to identify plants that will actually catch on fire, so that you can create a large enough thing. Because if you have fire now, you could protect yourself from bugs. You could possibly send up a smoke signal, for to get rescued. There's so many different basic things that we really have to think about and consider. So, I encourage people to at least buy one can good that's not bioengineered, because that's the new label on the foods, and buy something from the camping aisle every time you go to the supermarket or to a Wally's World or to a Target. You really have to start planning for your escape or your protection, on some doomsday shit. You just really never know what's about to happen. You just really never know.
So I had a question. I was just thinking about the topic. I seen the video. Do you think we are prepared for economic disaster? Are we prepared? Do you consider this as an economical disaster in 2024?
I don't think it's
Is it
hit
going to
yet.
get worse?
It's a pre. It's not the full.
Right, right.
Will we survive in a full? Yes. Because that's when I have the opportunity to walk around with my Batman uniform on.
Yep. Yeah.
What
I'm
I'm
gonna
talking
be
about
the
is a
hell.
whole. As a
You said
whole.
what?
As a whole,
No,
no,
As a
no,
whole.
no,
Yeah,
no,
individually, yeah, but I'm talking about as a whole.
absolutely
no,
not.
no, sir. I'm gonna
You're
tell
gonna
you
have
why.
to learn how to part ways with people early.
Right. I'm gonna tell you why. Because the first thing is gonna happen is gonna be chaotic.
Right.
Now I'm gonna say this. when it's chaotic, we have to be around certain people and we need to get away from certain people.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take things like the area I stay in. It's mainly Trump supporters. I know if something happened, I'm about to leave my house. I would rather survive where us is at, even if it's the ghetto. I know them jokers. I'll survive.
Right.
Out here, it ain't gonna rock like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, they sprinkling it out, so they dwindling out the area, but they still familiar with this area. So if something was to happen, they're gonna come down to this area.
Right.
You know, and it's better to defend with a large group than to me running to every main exit in my house to keep us safe. So
And then
we gotta be smart too. We gotta be
they
smart.
showing us that it's coming. They showing us that it's coming.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of like I told you, fraud is acquiescence in commerce. So if they're allowing fraud even into the system, you can look at the current situation with President Trump. They are allowing fraud into the system. So they're saying in this essentially, okay, we're allowing fraud, so they believe in, so if we allow fraud, they're going to give you some type of solution. So they sprinkle a little bit here, a little news, a little picture, the picture that just came on Civil War, then the picture before that. Then you got these smaller shows with, then you got all the science fiction. They got a new science fiction movie called Bionic. Let you know what's probably going to happen in the future. So they're giving you little bits and pieces. Now, one thing I did learn from this brother, his name is Doctor. I forgot his. I'm gonna get his name. But anyway, he goes to these space and technology conventions every, think 3 or 4 years. He go to them. He say, man, they got stuff. He say, look, whatever they showing you on TV, they already got.
Right.
They got it. So of course, they're gonna keep us dumbed down, not give us the right information. But it's up to us to move and build together. I'm telling you what's gonna happen. Europeans are already having a frenzy fit, knowing that there is no middle class. That's number one. Number two, they already pissed off with the government. Number three, they already got their so-called real physically white Jesus. That's your boy Trump. So now they got him. They running with it, and whatever he tells them to do or whatever they put together in their mind, they gonna kill each other first. It ain't gonna be we not gonna kill each other first. They gonna kill each other first. I'm telling you. That's what's gonna happen because they already mad. They mad at the system. They grandparents done fought in 3 wars. They daddy done fought in 3 wars. They feel like the government owes them. This is the patriot mindset. And when you have that mindset, what you do, you start going against the government. A lot of people, when they did the thing in Washington, it was the patriots. They was upset. So, hey, it's gonna be a lot going on. I'm just glad I'm here to watch it and see what happens.
That part.
Okay, as far as that, this like I guess this deal with natural disasters. Atlanta was out of water for about 2 days. Some parts of Atlanta are still out of water. Do you think that was a test run?
Yes.
The whole city of Atlanta.
Yes. Yes, this is the Black Mecca. Hold up, this is the Black Mecca. Come on, man. Yes.
I'm watching Waking Dead right now. Guess where it's positioned the first season in Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
So they're showing you.
Man.
That shit was front and center.
I don't, what I'm saying, I agree with your point of knowledge, but I don't want us to get so ahead to where we really don't think about and don't remember who these crackers are. I read pages from this book right here. And the level of this is 100 years of lynchings. And this is where I don't, they probably will knock each other off. But a lot of us that have love affairs for white folks, and we think that the white ice is colder and that they're so much more friendly. It's like you just said, knowledge. You'd rather be in the hood with your people than
Yeah.
caught around them. And this is why I'm saying this. Because I watch a lot of movies and I look through the movies. I'm not watching it for entertainment. I look through it. And a movie I've been trying to put people on for the longest is Leatherface, which is based off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
And she tried to civilize him. And for the most part, she was trying to tell him, you different. You different from the Sawyer blood. And for the most, he was caught in between. When it came to the climactic scene, he was caught in between his mother and the woman that had been down with him. And she said, I have something that'll jog his memory. She went and got the chainsaw, and he instantly remembered who he was and broke that. And he off with her head. So I'm saying this to say that we still have to remember, like we scream, we are our ancestors. Let's not forget that they are theirs. And don't ever think because they give you a good tip or a smile that they're your friends. When chaos comes, they get comfortable. We had to be created to get. They are the chaos. They are the savagery. We talk about we savages and this and we'll do this. We don't have that type of. When you study their death styles, that's how you find out who the real savage is. When you read in this chapter and they're talking about how they're burning people alive and eating them, they're still them. Nothing has changed but what they told our mind. They told our mind that we are the worst ones and they are the good ones. No, so ever let that sink in.
Hey, so Bashi, let me ask. Man, you always politic. All of us on here always politic offline or whatever.
We do.
So the word distraction. All this stuff going on, are we distracted, being distracted by P. Diddy and what the hell he doing?
I think it's how far we get into it. Because we have to understand, like, okay, we'll say we distracted by Diddy and then turn on the basketball game. Okay. And they use the entertainment to distract you. And the fact that the person that's screaming is a distraction, they're being a distraction by keep telling everybody they're being distracted. But I think to answer your question is how far we look into it. Because what are the things that are we being told by Diddy? That number one, he a booty bandit. He likes that. And he pretends to be a savage, but he don't have it like them. So it's like we have to look at what these are celebrities are doing, who we are following. What are they capable of? Like they are the examples, they are the role models. So I think it's all on. I think all of us on here, we can walk and chew bubblegum. And I think the people that are always worried about the distraction are the ones that are the easiest distracted. So we have to be able to focus on multiple things. I can talk, all of us have conversations. All of us get up here. Me and Queen can have long conversations, and we'll talk about 86 topics within that thing. And then we'll loop back around to the original topic that we were talking about. And you have to be multitasking, multidimensional with your mind.
I agree with that.
But it's all on how far you get into the distraction.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's knowledge in everything.
Right. What was you about to say, Queen?
That's what they say in meditation. Like when you're a beginner and you're starting to meditate, people always find it difficult to kind of silence their mind, to just sit there and just let your mind be still. And thinking about these clouds, all around my avatar, it's like you have to think of every thought as a cloud, so as it moves, so does the thought, allow the thought to fester, allow to think of the first sentence or whatever, finish that complete thought. And then once you're finished, just let it flow on by. It's not like I'm now going on YouTube or Google and inputting these things to kind of dig deeper into that subject or into that storyline. Like I genuinely don't know the man and I don't care. And I'm sure even if I did know him, I probably still wouldn't care. That's his life. I don't care who he is. He made great music. That's my relationship with him. And that's it. you know, and I think when we were talking about trust and who do you allow onto your space or your plantation, whatever we want to call it, you know, our community that we're building up, who do you want on that space? And thinking about trust, you know, people keep saying, I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. You know, we were saying yesterday, like we have to be able to still trust our circle. You know, as Brother Shaka said, like you still have to be able to trust the people that are your soul family. And I think that's just going to come with an inner knowing,
Right,
you
right.
know, especially going along this path, because we are going into some tough economic times. You know, the car market is crashing, the housing market is crashing, the real estate market is crashing, the stock market is crashing. You got all these man-made things that they've done that are genuinely crashing, and all they're trying to do is to prevent the crash at this point. I just read too that they're letting all VA loans, people, veterans who cannot pay their mortgages, allow the government to pay it on their behalf right now. So there's so many people living in homes that they haven't paid for years from 2020. And all of this shit is going to crash. You know, I keep saying they keep printing new money to give it overseas to support other countries during this war. And I said to you guys the other day, I don't know if you really understood it, but they're doing that so that whatever money and currency that they're now going to create in the future, after this war is all said and done, they're going to be like, hey, we gave you about 5, 6, 7 billions of dollars. You owe
They
us that
always
money
do.
back. And guess what? It's going to have to be paid back in whatever currency is created. So now they back on top. And I think that we really
Yep.
need to start playing their
Right.
game like how they playing their game. You know, we know what's going to happen. How do we now do what they do better? I know you start a business, because I'm going to tell you what somebody told me. When you're in a recession and when the economy is really low and things are looking so bad and bleak, what do? You create an emergency fund. That emergency fund should include at least $1,000. And once you have that $1,000, you now buy it to help you do something, educate yourself, whether if you have to go take a course or a certification class or do something with your hands. You invest it in something that's going to allow you to work harder to get more money. And then you redo it again. You go to $1,000. And now with that $1,000, you make it work for you. That's how I was introduced to the stock market, you know, depositing that money into the stock market. And now I could take that task, that tool, that certification, whatever it is that I did, I could out either start a business with that initial $1,000 investment, or now I could make my money work harder in the stock market. You choose. But during this time, we know where people were losing out on money. And if we still have the capability to make money, you start a business, because there's going to be less competition. And by the time the Wheel of Fortune flips up again, you're going to be in your business for 5 years. You're going to have access to all of those grants, and you're going to have access to all of this good credit and good energy, and build stronger relationships, and continue to allow people in our network to introduce us to new Black-owned businesses and continue to let us expand. That's how we get around this system.
Before we get off it, I want to mention one more thing. I want to have you guys look up the Marshall Plan, 1948 Marshall Plan. Check that out. And that was the economic assistance to restore the infrastructure of post-war Europe. Check it out. And what she mentioned was very smart. They're printing money, they send it to everybody, and then they're gonna do something like this Marshall Plan. And when she said it made me think about that. 1948 Marshall Plan. Check it out.
1948 Marshall Plan.
1948 Marshall Plan. All right, family, that's the live. We feel great. Any last words before we end the live?
Yeah, man. You know, we got some upcoming events, man.
What we got coming up?
A few more weeks, man. We're going to DC, man, for the
Right.
2024 Unity Festival with the Street Lost Soldiers. You know, Sunday Adams just told me we go grab the main stage, the Avengers, you know, at the
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth Festival. So yeah, that
I will be out there.
we gonna be out there on stage with supporting our brothers as we always do with our flags. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So yeah, you know.
Red, black, green.
One more thing. Every Monday night, 15 p.m. we'll be going live. We'll be going live. Probably have a couple of shows during the week. For Monday night, tune in to the Vocal Dialect supporters. We appreciate all of our supporters. They taking away our subscribers. So look if you still subscribe to our page and just resubscribe because they doing it dirty.
Yes.
All right, family. I'm Knowledge Born 7. We have the lovely Queen Goddess Hope.
Peace.
Bossy Kente, the warrior with his muscles out. And Kenwato I in the building. Peace, family. See y'all next week. Peace.
Yeah.